am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 24th of April and we are going to discuss three very important topics which are in news. The first is Surya Tilak. Surya Tilak was basically the sun rays being channelized and focused upon the forehead of Ram Lala's statue on the occasion of Ram Navami in the Ram Mandir Ayodhya. Well, this was possible because of an arrangement designed by the scientists from Indian Institute of Astrophysics using 4 mirrors and 4 lenses. Now, isn't it astonishing? Science helping us to accomplish our religious aspirations. That is why this event was very unique and it became popular all across the country as well. Next is India's trade with Iran and Israel. Now, as we all know that Iran has attacked Israel, alleging that Israel attacked the embassy of Iran in Damascus, Syria. Tensions in West Asian countries have, come to a boil. It is being predicted that if these countries do not stop, then this could lead to an escalated war. And in all this, the trade is definitely going to be impacted. Well, India has trade with both of these countries, whether it be Israel or Iran, and India shares a trade surplus with both of them. So definitely India's trade will be impacted, and for that matter, any country's trade will be impacted if the geopolitical tensions do not subside. And the last is the National Civil Services Day. This day is celebrated every year on 21st of April. Since 2006, we are celebrating this day. But yes, why on 21st of April only? Because Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, our first Home Minister, was addressing a group of civil servants on April 21st in the year 1950. We were just independent and the bureaucracy was having a humongous task of administration in India. This bureaucracy was doing this task in an independent India, so it was new for them. It was here in this speech where the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel gave this title to bureaucracy of India as the steel frame of India. So we will look into the details of all three topics. First is Surya Tilak on Ram Navami. A 3-minute long Surya Tilak means this particular, I would say, tika, which we call it in Hindi, tika, tilak, which we put on our foreheads, and it is considered as auspicious among Hindus. So this tilak or tika was done on the forehead of Ram Lala's newly installed statue in the new Ram Mandir, the newly built Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. And this tika was not of, I would say, a saffron, mark or something like that, but sun rays were channelized, and that is why it is called as Surya Tilak. Now, how was it possible? Because that statue is there in the Garbhagriha. Inside the Garbhagriha, channelizing the sun rays was a big challenge in itself. And this was done on the occasion of Ram Navami, which is believed to be the birth date of Lord Ram. And it is going to be practiced on every Ram Navami. Now, this was achieved by using a special mirror lens arrangement designed by astronomers at the Indian Institute of Astrophysics, Bangalore. The astronomers at IIA, that is Indian Institute of Astrophysics, designed it, but it was installed by Central Building Research Institute's team. Central Building Research Institute is located in Roorkee. So these are some facts about this. But yes, and this is how it looked like. The rays of the sun, they were channelized, and on the forehead of Lord Ram, they were there for 3 long minutes, and that came to be known as Surya Tilak. But it was not an easy task for the scientists of Indian Institute of Astrophysics designing this, and then also for those from the Central Building Research Institute. They encountered 2 challenges in doing this, in accomplishing this. The first challenge they encountered was they had to predict sun's position every year. Now, why this is a challenge, I'll discuss it shortly. But, before that, we'll see the second challenge is to channelize sun's rays on the forehead, because the statue is situated in the Garbhagriha. So inside the Garbhagriha, how will you channelize it? This was the second challenge. Now, challenge number 1, predicting the sun's position every year. Why it was a challenge? See, we need to understand one thing. that there are two types of calendars. One is the Gregorian calendar. This is a solar calendar. Solar calendar means it works on it is indexed with the sun. When the earth completes one revolution of the sun, then a year is completed according to the Gregorian calendar, and there are 12 months: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, like this. 365 days in a year. This is the calendar which we follow, which is a solar calendar. And the other type of calendar is the lunar calendar or the Hindu calendar. This calendar is indexed with the positions of the moon. One similarity between lunar calendar and the solar calendar is that there are 12 months in both these calendars. In the lunar calendar, 1 year is completed when the moon completes 12 revolutions around the earth. Moon completing one revolution around the earth is 1 month. It takes 29.5 days. We saw it in the previous topic of total solar eclipse. Then again, moon covers it in 29.5 days roughly. That is another month. So in the lunar calendar, the total number of days in a year are 354. In the solar calendar, the total number of days in a year are 365. So Ram Navami per se is according to the lunar calendar or the Hindu calendar. In that lunar calendar or Hindu calendar, the date for Ram Navami is fixed according to that calendar. But according to the solar calendar, this date is not fixed. This year, it happened on 17th of April. Last year, that is 2023, it happened on 30th of March. Next year, it may happen on another date. But we have to do that Surya Tilak. So that is why, the first challenge was there, that predicting the sun's position every year. And then we have to channelize the rays of the sun, project it on the forehead of Ram Lala. Challenge number 2, channelize the sun's rays on the forehead. How this channel was encountered, or this challenge was met. Actually, they used 4 lenses and 4 mirrors. The first lens over here, which directed the sun rays on this mirror. This mirror deflected this sun rays on the second mirror. From the second mirror, it came to the second lens and the third lens. The job of these 2 lenses was to increase the intensity of the sun rays which are coming. Okay, to make the beam more concentrated, as it is written. And then here the beam or the sun rays were deflected by this mirror number 3 over here, and here is the 4th lens, again to increase the intensity of the sun rays coming, and finally this 4th mirror which projected the sun rays on the forehead of Ram Lala. So here we are using 4 mirrors, M1, M2, M3 and M4, and 4 lenses, L1, L2, L3 and L4 over here. This is very much similar to the periscope which we used to study in our school days. So this is how the second challenge was met. Now the question is that how will we be able to address the first challenge every year, because Ram Navami will fall on a different date according to the Gregorian calendar every year. And since it will fall on a different date, the sun's position will be different. How will we do that? Now, here we have installed a gear which is having 19 tooth or 19 teeth. Now the outermost mirror, this one, M1, this gear is attached with this mirror. With this mirror, this gear is attached. Every year manually, we will rotate this gear by 1 tooth, and the position of this mirror will also change. It will go and it will align itself with the sun's position. Why 19 tooth are there? There is also science behind that. And the spacing between these teeth, also there is science behind that. The number 19 actually was chosen to correspond to the Metonic cycle. Metonic cycle is a period of 19 years in which there are 235 lunar months, after which the moon's phases recur on the same days of the solar year, which simply means that 19 years down the line from now, that is in 2043, Ram Navami will again fall on 17th of April. And 2042, Ram Navami will fall on 30th of March. This will happen. And this is actually, the cycle comes to this again. So that is why 19 tooths or 19 teeth are there in that gearbox, and they are spaced accordingly that whatever the position of the sun will be, they will move accordingly. The mirror will move that distance, or the mirror will align to that angle, which, the sun rays can be caught correctly and can be channelized inside. So this is the science behind this, I would say, periscope kind of design. So isn't it, fascinating? Science helping us to, accomplish our religious aspirations. It indeed is. Next is India's trade with Iran and Israel. Both of these in West Asia. Now, Iran alleges that Israel has attacked an embassy of Iran in Syria, which has claimed the lives of top military generals of Iran. And Israel, however, said that we did not attack. And Iran, in response, attacked Israel. So the tensions are very high in the West Asian region. Now, in all this, what is going to be the impact on the trade which India is having with these countries over there? Definitely, there will be some impact. And, it worries traders in the region and spook markets. How does India trade with these two countries? We should know. What could be the impact of renewed regional tensions on the Indian economy? We should know about these things because these are the factors which can concern us. When I talk about India-Israel trade, so first of all, we should understand the fact that India established diplomatic relations with Israel in the year 1992. Before 1992, we did not have any diplomatic relations with Israel. And since then, we have the record of trade also, which is happening between both the countries. It was $200 million in 1992. And majority was diamond trade. Around, I would say, 60 to 70% of this trade value, that is $200 million in 1992, was diamond trade. A lot of diamonds are exported from India to Israel. It increased to $10.7 billion in 2022-23, and this excludes defense. Israel is the third largest supplier or the fourth largest supplier of arms to India. But the arms trade is not included in this particular figure, $10.7 billion. A sharp rise happened in the last 4 years in trade between India and Israel, when trade doubled from $5.56 billion in 2018-19 to $10.7 billion in 2022-23. So 2018-19 it was 5.56, 2022-23 which we saw here 10.7 billion dollars. Between 2021-22 and 22-23 trade increased by 36.9% from 7.87 to 10.7. In 2022-23 India's exports to Israel were worth $8.45 billion, means out of $10.7 billion trade, $8.45 billion were the exports of India to Israel, which clearly signifies that India enjoyed a trade surplus with Israel. In financial year 23-24, which is this year right now, the bilateral trade reached $5.75 billion during the first 10 months, April to January. And I'm afraid that, it would have touched 10.7 or not, because 2 months were remaining. The first 10 months had this much trade. So it clearly highlighted that trade was dropping. It was very less likely that we could have, surpassed $10 billion in 2 months. Means we needed more than $5 billion trade or around $5 billion trade in 2 months to happen with Israel if we had to meet this last year's figure. So since October, Israel is under tension, geopolitical tension, and this is quite evident also, or this is quite very well reflected also in the reduced trade with Israel. When I talk about India-Iran trade, so India-Iran trade is also not, I would say, so big. And there are impacts on the India-Iran trade due to American sanctions on Iran, which happened in 2018-19. Our trade dropped a lot or drastically after those sanctions. But yes, in the last few years, it started picking up. So let's analyze India-Iran trade. In 2022-23, Iran was India's 59th biggest trading partner. Trade was $2.33 billion, total $2.33 billion. With Israel, it was $10.7 billion. India's trade with Iran has seen a contraction in recent years before an uptick in 2022-23. Means if I draw this graph and this is 2022-23, the trade was dropping and it increased in 2022-23. Why was this drop? We will see. In the first 3 preceding years, that is 2019-20, 2021 and 21-22, it saw a contraction in the range of 9.10% to 72% year on year. Why? Because USA imposed sanctions over here, 2018-19. US sanctions were here on Israel, and we were pressurized that, cut off from, on Iran, and we were pressurized that cut off your trade from Iran by the US. Unfortunately, we succumbed under that pressure and we stopped importing Iranian oil. The trade with Iran also dwindled from the high of $17 billion in 2018-19 to $4.77 billion in 2019-20. So in 2018-19, before the sanctions, it was $17 billion, which was more than India-Israel trade. But it fell out to, $4.77 billion in 2019-20 to $2.11 billion in 2020-21. And from there, in 2022-23, it rose to $2.33 billion. Now, in this financial year, that is 2023-24, for the first 10 months, it was $1.52 billion only. Again, less than this much. Clearly reflecting the negative impacts of the geopolitical tensions in West Asia, largely. Now, this was trade. Trade means imports plus exports. What about investments? FDI. So, let us look at FDI also. When I talk about FDI with respect to Israel, inward FDI means Israel's investments in India. From 2000 till 2023, in these 23 years, the cumulative investment done by Israelis in India is $288 million. Outward FDI means how much did Indians invest in Israel? $383 million, which is clearly more than $288 million. Means Indians, the outward direct investment by Indians in Israel is more than the inward investment, that is FDI, by Israelis in India. So this is one fact which you should know. With respect to Iran, when I talk about inward FDI from 2000 till 2023, it is only $1 million by by Iranians in India. Now when I talk about outward FDI, we are building one of the terminals of the Chabar port, Shahid Beheshti. We have done investments over there, and that investment alone is $85 million. And apart from that, we are also constructing a railway line and all over there. So that is also, has investment. So roughly around $90 to $100 million is the outward investment done by India in Iran. So this is basically outward investment in Iran is also more as compared to inward investment. Outward investment in Israel is also more as compared to inward investment by Israelis. Now, how tensions in the Middle East impact India's economy? Now, there is a global think tank, that is Global Trade Research Initiative, GTRI. It says that there is unlikely to be any rise in petrol prices in India as a result of ongoing tensions in the Middle East. Actually, it is true also because India's largest supplier of oil is Russia. So, it is less likely that India's supply of these energy imports will be impacted unless the Houthis in the Red Sea, they do certain mischiefs with the Indian imports. It is also said that there could be some impact due to tensions in the Red Sea. And in the Red Sea are the Houthis. Houthis are Shia militias. They are backed by Iran in Yemen. The tension could force projects like India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, which was announced by India and other countries in the G20 summit last year, to remain on paper for a long time. So they can remain on paper for a long time. This could be one such impact. But largely, this global think tank says that Indian imports will not be impacted. But yes, Indian businesses will be impacted over there. India's trade is already impacted, which has dropped down. And the last piece of news, that is the National Civil Services Day. It is celebrated on 21st of April every year. And why this day is celebrated? This day is celebrated to acknowledge the hard work, dedication, and commitment of officials to serve the nation. Now, you guys are obviously aspiring to become civil servants. You also know that the real work is done by the civil servants. You might have heard this saying a lot, that asli desh to civil servants hi chala rahe, and which is up to a large extent true. So, in order to commemorate their hard work towards nation building or the nation development, this day is celebrated. This day is an opportunity to appreciate the civil workers in promoting social justice, maintaining law and order, and ensuring good governance in the country. Now, history of this day. Why April 21 is chosen? Actually, the first Home Minister, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, on April 21st, 1947, while delivering a speech addressing the probationers of administrative services officers at Metcalfe House in Delhi, referred to the civil servants as basically the steel frame of the country. He addressed them and said that earlier you had different tasks. Your masters were not empathetic to the people of India. Your masters means the Britishers and all. Now your political leaders are empathetic to the people of India. They are one among them. So you have to be empathetic in delivering services to the people and ensuring their welfare, ensuring social justice, X, Y, Z, whatever are the responsibilities of civil servants. A newly independent country, humongous task in front of them, huge poverty, hunger, and all was existing over there at that time. So basically, their efforts needed certain motivation, and that motivation was given by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel on this very day. And that is why, to commemorate this day, April 21st, since the year 2006, has been celebrated as the National Civil Services Day. So this is the history behind this, which should be known to you. Now we enter into the MCQs. The first MCQ is consider the following statements and mark the correct one. First statement is the special mirror lens arrangement for the Surya Tilak at the Ram Mandir in Ayodhya was installed by the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. Second, Surya Tilak was done on the occasion of Ram Navami. Very simple question. Bus, just be aware about the minute details and answer the correct one. Second is consider the following statements and mark how many are correct. How many statements are correct? First is solar year is longer than the lunar year. Ram Navami falls on the same date every year according to the lunar calendar. And third is sun's position will vary each year on Ram Navami. Only one statement is correct, only two statements are correct, all the statements are correct, or none of the statement is correct. The third is consider the following statements and mark the correct one. India's diplomatic relations with Iran were established in 1992. India has a trade surplus with Iran and Israel. Which of these are correct? When is the National Civil Services Day celebrated? Very simple. There could not be a simpler question than this. Who has called the bureaucracy the steel frame of India and why? Now, this is something where you need to think. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, because bureaucrats cannot be removed from office. B. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, because they are permanent executives responsible for ensuring welfare of the masses. C. Lord Wellesley, to motivate the newly formed merit-based civil services in 1854. And D. None of the above. So, be very careful in answering this question. This is not as easy as it seems. Now, with this, we've come to an end of today's session. There was a brief break in today's analysis, this series, video series, which we release every day due to the results which were declared, and we should congratulate all the students of Vajirao and Reddy who have made it into the list. And you should be proud that the institute has had secured massive result this year as well. Now, with this, I'll be ending this session. I'll be meeting you tomorrow now with more such informative news pieces. Till then, you guys very well know what to do. Keep studying, keep reading, keep writing, keep watching the videos, and most importantly, keep revising. Namaste. Jai Hind.